Om Shanti. Am I clearly audible? Or is there too much background noise?
Yes, you're audible.
Om Shanti. So today we will read two Murlis. So the first Murli is dated on 2nd of May 1974. Become complete with all virtues, the same as the Father. Do you consider yourself to be master oceans of knowledge? Just as the ocean of knowledge is complete with all powers, in the same way, do you experience yourself to be complete with all attainments? Is the grace? Nothing is lacking in the treasure store of deities, sung for the Brahmins or for deities. You experience all the sanskars in your Brahmin life because you are now feeling yourself with all the sanskars. So do you experience the sanskars of this praise in yourself at this time? Do you experience the sanskars of this praise in yourself at this time? It is at this time that you are the children of Bapdada, the highest on high. However, whilst in the deity life, you will not be called Master Almighty Authorities, because this Brahman life is known to be, this time is known to be Diamond Age. Satyug would be known as Golden Age. Since you are the children of the ocean, will you be complete like the ocean now or in the future? The Father makes the children complete in everything at this time. And this is why the praise of final stages, complete with all virtues, 16 celestial degrees complete, completely viceless, and completely non-violent. In the praise, the word complete is also attached to everything. As we say, Sarvaguna Sampurna Sampurna Nirvikari Ahimsa Paramana. So Baba says in everything you see, complete is attached in every virtue. Only in Brahmin life do you receive from the Father the inheritance of being complete. Have you claimed a right to your inheritance, or are you still going to claim it? You should have a right to the inheritance from the moment that you belong to the Father. What is the inheritance? Do you experience all attainment and the unlimited, limitless treasure in your inheritance? Since you have a right to the inheritance, what is a sign of one who has all rights? One who has all rights would constantly be like the Father, a benefactor, merciful, a great donor, a donor of virtues. One who grants a vision of the Father through his every thought, word, and practical action like the Father. In yesterday's Sakar Murli also, again and again, repetitively, the whole Murli was to become merciful like Father. We cannot hit anyone. We cannot even be judgmental about anyone. We should be as sweet as Father. For such souls who have all rights, the grace is that nothing is lacking in their life. So the point here to be remembered, one who has all rights would constantly be like the Father, how a benefactor, merciful, great donor of virtues, one who grants a vision of the Father through his every thought, word, and practical action like the Father. The vision of those who are complete in everything is not drawn towards anything. They constantly stay in spiritual intoxication. They will be beyond having any wasteful thoughts. Their intellect and vision will not be drawn in other direction, and they will remain free from all types of worry. They will constantly be playing with the treasures received from the Father. They don't even have the time to have any other thoughts because they constantly remain busy in imbibing and distributing to others the treasure they have received from the Father. The greatest business, the greatest donations, and the greatest charity is this. So while we are listening, we will check and we will feel what Baba is telling. Baba has mentioned, Baba has defined what is the greatest business, what exactly we have to do with full of clarity. Baba says who is busy distributing and imbibing this treasure which they have received from the Father have no room in their mind for the West thoughts. They cannot be diverted into other direction. Their attention, their vision, intellect cannot be drawn into something which is not useful. They will always be free from all types of worry. What else would you do if you let go of such an elevated task and such elevated donation and charity? Do you have time for anything else? Do you still have time to have thoughts of performing insignificant tasks? Or have you already finished all tasks? Since you have not finished everything, how can you have time for anything else? Can those who remain busy in such a great task have any aim and object in playing with dolls? Is there any result in that? If someone very important, someone who normally earns multi-millions at every step, play with dolls, would you call him someone who is greatly sensible? Wasteful thoughts are the play of dolls. Do you still have such sanskars of childhood? When we came to Baba's knowledge, we used to play with such dolls. We get worried very easily in small matters. We get caught up by people or some situation. We get upset very soon. We start disliking someone very easily. We've been judgmental. So Baba says, these are the kind of wasteful thoughts and playing with the doll. Can those who do not have control over their essential flows and life powers, their thoughts, mind, and intellect, can those who do not have all rights and who are not victorious become the victorious jewels who have the right to world sovereignty? If you remember in yesterday's Vardhan in Sakar Murli, Baba exactly mentioned the same thing. Those who have the whole power to win over their subtle power and having the knowledge of handling and ruling their senses will become the world sovereignty, will win the title of world sovereignty, will be having the right to world sovereignty. Can a kingdom in which the main one is not one who has all rights remain constant, unshakable, and free from obstacles? If the mind and intellect, the closest powers of the soul, the main ones who rule the kingdom, the workers are not under your control, what would you call such workers? The greatest victorious ones or the weakest of all? So check yourself and see whether your main workers are under your control. Your subtle senses and your general senses. Your five indriyas, your five senses, and your subtle senses, your mind, intellect, and sanskar. If not, then how would you become the ones who have a right to world sovereignty, to the world emperors? If your own little workers deceive you, would you be called Mahavir? Sometimes we say, I did not mean to do that, I did not want to do that, but I was driven. I came under influence. We become subservient of something sometime. So Baba says, which means that those senses are deceiving us. Our subtle senses are not in our control. So Baba says, would you be called these? You issue a challenge that you are establishing a kingdom that is ruled with law and order. If the workers, that is, sense organs of those who issue the challenge are not under their own law and order, but that they themselves are under the influence of the workers, then can they establish law and order in the world? To what extent are all your sense organs are under your control? Baba is asking us to check. Check this and develop the sanskar of being victorious from now. Only those who glorify Bapdada's name can become complete, the same as Father. Now Baba is giving his children the Vardhan, which is also a revision of the whole Murli, the points which Baba has highlighted here. To those who understand with the signal and make their workers work with a signal, to those who direct all souls towards the Father, to those who direct all souls towards the Father, to those who experience all rights, to those who are constantly complete and constantly victorious, to such sensible children, Bapdada's love, remembrance, and namaste. And we can now say good morning. Maybe this was in the Ratri class, so Baba is telling good night. From us children, love, remembrance, namaste to your beloved Father. The second Murli, which is dated on 16th of May, 1974. The title of the Murli qualifications of a Maharathi. At this time, does everyone have the desire to listen or to become the same? Sunna or us par chalna. Baba says, are both this thing, desire to listen, to become the same? After listening, by merging everything, you become the same. And by merging everything, you automatically develop the power to face. With the power to face, you automatically attain the power to attain liberation from all desires. This is after listening, when we are merging everything, that gives us the power to face. And that powers automatically help us to attain the power to attain liberation from all desire. Ichha matram avidya. With the power of faith, we can easily attain liberation from all desires. Do you experience yourself to be liberated souls in this way? No type of bondage is pulling you towards itself, is it? Only those who are free from bondages can be Yog Yukta. Very, very important plan. If you remember, in 3 days back or 2 days back in Sakar Murli, Baba says that bodiless means who have no bodily religion and relationship. Something is pulling us, attracting us, if we are infatuated with something or some we are subservience by some sense organ, or we are attached to something, Baba says, that is not the stage of free, that is not the stage of being free from bondages. It will not help us to be yukta. If the bondage of any sanskar or any person or any material comfort pulls to you towards itself, then you cannot be constantly pulled by Baba's rules. Whilst the soul is under an external influence, it is saying that the soul is under another influence. To be under another influence is a royal form of an evil spirit, the same as the 5 evil spirit. So Baba says to be under another influence is a royal form of an evil spirit. Sometimes we are very busy in seva. It can be your office seva, it can be at center seva, or you are being told to do some task. We are so much into that. In Hindi, it is a very good word like kartapan, work consciousness. We get so caught up by that. Baba says that is also kind of an influence which comes in a royal form. Just as when the evil spirit enters you, you forget your form, your nature, your duty, your powers. In the same way, when you are under the influence of anything, this becomes your state. Whatever is making us restless, whatever is taking us away from our original calmness, the relaxation of mind, definitely there is something wrong. We need to check and change. The ones who give the mantra that disciplines the mind, Vashikaran mantra, can never be under the influence of anything, Vashibhut. So now check that check that you are not influenced by anything else. is very less, the human mind stays in the present. Either it is lying in the past or it is creating some thought for the future. So mindfulness, being in present, available your mind 100% at this present moment is to some extent the practice of stabilizing your mind, practicing stillness. So Baba is asking us, so in the world you will see there are a lot of workshops that runs on this. So that is very, very important. Sometimes we get too much worry about the future, whether I'll be able to do it, whether it will happen or not. Going forward, Baba also have mentioned this. Nowadays, Bab Dada remains busy in a special task. What is that task? In any task, the children are connected with the Father and Soul. Do you not know about the program that is connected with you? When you go to say good morning or have a heart-to-heart conversation with the Father at Amrit Vela, do you not have this experience? Or do you remain busier in taking from Baba? Do you receive any touching? The time for completion is now coming closer. In the completion, you have a vision of both those who are last so fast in front of you. Bab Dada sees the setting and fitting of each child every day. Setting and fitting. Some even try to set themselves, but because of not having the right fitting, they're not able to have a correct setting. You know what the fitting and setting is? Do you not? To make yourself move along with a godly code of conduct. And so, these code of conducts are the fitting. And set your stage on the basis of the codes of conduct is known to be sitting. Srimats to follow karna fitting. And setting yourself based on that code of conduct, based on the Srimad sitting. It can be practice of swama, it can be practice only just being in your original self, what you really are, being in your true self. When Bapdada sees the Mahavirs and set them in the Maharathi seat of the Maharathis, what state does he see them in? I hope you all remember their Baba has defined in previous movie that if our own little walkers, means our senses, sense organs deceive us, then we will not be called as Mahavirs. Here Baba says that when Baba see the Mahavirs and sets them in this Maharathi seat of Maharathis, what state does he see them in? Because of not having a fitting of one or another code of conduct, you are not able to set yourself on the seat. One moment you may be on the seat, and next moment you would be on one side. So Bapdada remains busy in this task. There are many visible in whom there is hope, and the visible line is also very low. However, only some appear to be the form of proof. In order to become one in whom there is hope, what is the main effort? It is very easy effort, but because of your own weakness, you make these easy things difficult. So Baba says, in order to set yourself in the seat of Maharathi, what will be the effort? And the Baba says the effort is very easy. Because of our own weakness, we make things sometimes difficult. The easy effort to be one in whom there is hope is to fulfill every hope that Baba has for the children. Every day, Baba gives us some code of conduct. So that is Baba's hope from us children. Some days Baba says that you be merciful. Some days Baba says that you go beyond sound. Some days Baba says that you be modulus. Some days Baba says that you make others understand this knowledge. Then you can become one for whom there is hope. Is it difficult for the children to fulfill Baba's hope? A child takes birth to fulfill the hopes of father. The aim of the child's life is to fulfill the father's hope. This, in other words, is called son shows father. So to become one in whom there is such hope is the main aim of your Brahmin life. When Bapdada himself becomes cooperative and increases your zeal and enthusiasm by 100,000-fold for your one step, why should it be difficult? Since you yourself are those who finish all difficulties of the world, since you are those who make them experience the difficult things to be easy, for such embodiments of experience, can anything be difficult? You cannot even think of this. It is okay for the infantry, pyade, to think it is difficult. However, now you do not consider yourself to be any less than the others in any way. Baba says we never consider ourselves less than the others in any way. That is, in one way or another, you have to consider yourself to be a Maharathi. Even those who have come last have the aim of going last so fast, and so they are Maharathis. Are they not? Yesterday, Baba says, those souls who have come last will get the donation of power, Shakti Padan, that will help them to move faster. In any aspect, you do not consider it to be good to make yourself go down or anything in front of anyone, or even to realize your own weakness. In order to make yourself well known, you try to prove anything. You try to prove everything. So what do you call this? Baba says, sometimes in one beautiful Murli, I think it's a Murli of 1987, Baba says that we sometimes completely lost the power to realize our own weakness. Mehsoos taki shakti ho jati hai. And that time we try to make ourselves, we want to prove ourselves. We want to prove ourselves that we are well known. We did it good. There is a wanting, deep wanting to be recognized. There is a deep wanting to establish my words. There is a deep wanting that I am the best. Do you consider yourself to be part of the infantry in one way or another, or a Maharathi? So this is the lakshan of an infantry. When you want to prove yourself, when you don't give the chance to others to move forward, when you don't want to sacrifice something, sacrifice in the same sacrifice as Baba in moving forward says, the Naam, Manshan, the name, fame. Those who I try to prove themselves, that is, those who are stubborn, can never become well known. Those who are stubborn in wanting to prove themselves right can never be successful. Sometimes what happens, being in the knowledge, we want to prove some point of knowledge out of stubbornness. A small story I would like to tell and share with all of you. That time Sakar Baba was in Mumbai sometimes during winter. Uh, he had some chronic lung problem. So during the winter time, he comes to Mumbai. So there some bhakti was arranged in Gaudevi Center. I believe that in that center is one of the primary center that exists. So Baba had arranged a bhakti there. I think 2-3 years um, those who are like old in this knowledge for last 2-3 years came into this bhakti. That was the eligibility. And we all know Ramesh Bhai in our yajna, he is one of the pillar of the yajna, was present in the bhakti. It was mainly bhakti for Mata. So there Brahma Baba asked, who is the god of Gita? So one mother who was sitting at the front line said, Sri Krishna is the god of Gita. And Sakar Baba did not even utter a single word. Ramesh Bhai, at the end of the class, checked with the mother that, mother, how long you have been in this knowledge? She said, I'm 3 years older in this knowledge. So he said that how can you say that the god of Gita is, I mean, whatever. He started, telling that mother that the god of Gita is not Sri Krishna. But that mother was very stubborn. She said that whatever it is, I would know and I will accept the god of Gita is Sri Krishna. So Ramesh Bhai also checked with the center sister from where does she come, and he also had shared this thing with that sister that you should make her understand that point because it's very basic. And also ask Baba that Baba, why didn't you utter a sentence? Why didn't you correct her? So Baba just smiled and say, okay, let's see. After a year or so, the same bhakti or in the same program, coincidentally, that Mata and Ramesh Bhai both were there, and Sakar Baba raised the same question in the Sabha, and she answered that the god of Gita is Shiv Baba. So Sakar Baba, just imagine, did not correct her. It was his humility. He was not stubborn that time to prove that point. It is such a nice thing to remember. So Baba says those who are to attain success keep themselves humble, gentle, and also pick up virtues from everyone. You keep the aim of becoming well known, and yet your effort is becoming distant. So check yourself. Your name should not come in the line. Is my effort like this, or I always want to be recognized? I always want my name to come first. See, Baba's teaching, you keep the aim of becoming well known, and yet your effort is of becoming distant. So check yourself. You need to have subtle checking. For any Maharathi to experience something to be difficult means he is not Maharathi. With his own cooperation and cooperation from the Father, a Maharathi will make the difficulties of others very easy. This is one of the virtue of Maharathi, not only for ourselves, but for others, making the difficulties easy. Maharathis can never have question in their thoughts. Why is this like this? Why is this like that? Instead of asking how, they will always say like this because they are master knowledgeful and Trikaldarshi. So check yourself in these aspects. How can I do this? How will this be possible? You should not have this question either for yourself or for others. Only when your questions for both have finished can you constantly remain satisfied, content, and cheerful. Now, do you understand what the qualifications of a Maharathi are? They are no less in doing anything. When you come into connection with one another, you do not consider yourself to be any less than the other. Each one consider himself to be an authority and also to have a right. Now, claim the right to understand this and also do it. Only then will you claim a right to the praise of this godly family in the world. Everyone will automatically praise your kingdom. Do not become beggars who ask for seniority. When you beg for something, then just as for the beggars of today, no one gives anything, but instead chases them away. In the same way, souls who beg for something in a royal way automatically distance themselves from all souls. Extremely important line. Such Maharathis cannot set themselves in their seat. This is why you are all Maharathis. The time of the cavalry and infantry, Mursaware or Pyade, has now gone. Now each Maharathi has to keep the qualification of being a Maharathi in front of himself and inculcate these into himself. Acha. To those who merge all their desires, to those who are the authority of all powers, the same as the Father, to those who are constantly merged in love of one, who are stable in a constant stage and who have one faith and one support, who are constantly stable in solitude, introverted, and are the stars of Bab-Dada's hope. To such souls, Bab-Dada's love, remembrance, and namaste, and we can say good morning and love, remembrance, namaste to our beloved Father, us, children. In the coming 1 minute of silence, I will just take you through, and you can just keep your gaze on the highlighted points. And if there is anything you like about this Murli, please share. Thank you. Shanti. So whoever is ready, you can just share the point which you like the most in today's video. Like Spirit awareness. Share that Baba signals of victory, master oceans, holding everything. Like Father, no west also drawn anywhere. No time for playing with dolls. Control over subtle organs, all workers under control, then constantly victorious. Very beautiful, very precise.
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti.
Yeah, very nice Murlis and very nicely rendered. So actually, the last part, which really was strongly coming onto me as a reminder, as a takeaway, is that we should not be beggars asking for praise, asking for position, asking for seniority. We have to be the bestowers. And by becoming those beggars, we are actually distancing ourselves from the real goal, and we'll never be Maharathis then. So it's a very practical reminder of how to lead our daily lives. Om Shanti.
Yes, thank you, Dr.
Om Shanti. Sister, I like this point of merging the expansion into the point form and remaining merged in love with the Supreme Almighty Authority. That is a takeaway for me. To become a Maharathi and Mahavi, I think this is a key takeaway. I'm taking it today. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti. Yes, Balvinda. Okay. Yeah, Girija, you can go.
Balvinda, sister, you can share.
Om Shanti ji, sister and divine family. For me, reminder is to become master of myself. As I identified, I have already developed some unhealthy eating habit. And during this process, changing to healthy eating habits, I know I found myself failing many times because all senses, they have grown quite stronger than me, and I found myself a failure. And then I became too hard on myself and merciless towards myself. So today, reminder for me that I need to be merciful. I need to be more gentle towards myself. When we are in the process of changing our old sanskar, it's not a quick fix. It does take time, where patience is required, and extra love, kindness, and compassion towards myself first is mandatory. So this is the prerequisite for me as I am in the process of changing my eating habit or any other sanskar. So I will keep in mind moving forward. Thank you, Ji. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thank you, sister.
Like the first Murli, I think a long list has been given by Baba. I just tried to check a few of them and I put it in the box. Like the signals for constant victory. as you said rightly, in that what touched and what was also touched by Baba in yesterday's Sakar Murli is subtle powers. Subtle powers, I think if I'm able to really exercise it, concentrate. That was the first one. Baba has always spoken about Maharathis and Mahavir. So just that listen, become, merge. This is what is, in short, he has said, just listening, becoming, and merging. For that, he says, you have got the Vashikaran mantra. How can you become Vashipur? What influence? Be set on your seat. Why you want to prove to everyone that you're right? No need. No need to prove. So merge, become the authority of all powers. Ek ras, ek bal, ek bharosa, ekant. If I have all these qualities and if I can introduce Baba, and I am a Maharathi.
Thank you, sister.
Om Shanti.
Beautiful. Om Shanti.
Yeah. So in the first Murli, right, Baba said about the wasteful thoughts. Wasteful thoughts are nothing but you are playing with dolls. So one good checking that I thought of doing is, am I playing with dolls today? And Baba also said that it's childish to play with that. It's an old sanskar. And, those who are not sensible would only do that. And so this is the time to earn multi-millions at every step. And one great business that we can do is at this time, which is the greatest donation, of this knowledge. So this is also the greatest charity that one can do. So Baba says, so you busy remain doing, imbibe and distribute. So yeah, so that's the takeaway for me. So thank you.
Thank you, brother. All right, so I would like to invite Rakhi Ben for the declaration of Sunday's program. Rakhi Ben, over to you.
Om Shanti. This Sunday, we have Arif Pai, who will take us through the glimpses of all the Murlis that we're studying in this week. Under the title of the session is The Way of the Maharathi. As many of the Murlis that we're reading in this week talks about what it makes to be a Maharathi in the process of studying Baba's Murlis and what is that we need to imbibe. So we invite to take maximum benefit to revise all the Murlis of this week before we attend the Sunday session. Over to you, Reshmi. Reshmi Ben.
Thank you, Rakhi Ben. Sorry, I was talking on mute. So we will move now towards meditation. Wherever you are, just be settled there. If you can sit, it's wonderful. If you're outside and it's the nature, nothing like it. So I'll just share my screen. Sit back and relax. I, the soul, is stepping down inside. There is a beautiful place of solitude. No sound, no noise. A complete peace. I am a Maharathi soul. I have everything Baba has bestowed upon me, all the treasures of love, peace, powers, the joy of knowledge. Now is my time to distribute the treasures with all, no matter how they behave, how they talk, what they do. I only and only have to give, give, and give. I am the donor of peace. I am a peacemaker. I am that altruistic soul. Like Father, I'm beyond all desire. I don't want anything from anyone. All my joy is in giving, loving them. I'm ready to forgive. I'm removing all the spots from my mind and intellect. I have finished all the memories of hurt, sorrow, agony, and pain. Now I'm sitting in front of my Father, who's bestowing on me constantly the love, the peace, the purity.
Om Shanti. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Reshmi Ben. Thank you, Divine Family. And we meet tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.